Welcome to the 359. I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
I'm Joni Salzman.
Amazon on Monday experienced a rough start to this year's Prime Day, with outages plaguing the website and app right as the company was kicking off its big annual sale. The situation was obviously embarrassing for the world's biggest e-commerce company, but it doesn't appear to have significantly harmed sales. The company said Tuesday that U.S. sales so far were, quote, bigger than ever, which I guess doesn't surprise me that much. We didn't really know how big this outage was or how long it lasted, and Amazon wasn't going to tell us. So I don't know. Do you think this is going to be a big hit to them reputationally or not?
I think that's probably where the hit's going to come, is that Amazon banks itself on being this flawless, effortless, making it easy for you to buy and get whatever you need as easily as possible. And it was not easy to access their site, find what you needed, things that you knew were there, you couldn't get to. That hurts.
Yeah. They even, the search at one point was broken for me. But at the same time, I spoke with one analyst yesterday who said that, look, if they're able to fix a flaw fairly quickly, then sales should be able to recover fairly easily, which it looks like that actually happened. But either way, did you spend any time buying stuff?
I spent so much money.
Wait, what kind of stuff did you get?
I bought a lot of big ticket things. I bought luggage and very expensive vacuum cleaners and a robot vacuum cleaner and
impressive
fancy headphones. I spent a lot of money. But what you?
I haven't spent anything yet.
You rebel against all things Prime Day.
Yeah, because I cover Amazon, I almost feel like I shouldn't buy things on Prime Day. I mean, I shop around a lot, but I never actually decide on anything. One theory that I do have about this whole failure is it possible that they might actually benefit from it? There was so much news around the failure that maybe more people started shopping. I don't know.
I think anytime... They say no press is bad press, but when the press is, we can't go to your site and buy your things, that's not going to help them sell stuff, really.
Yeah, that's true.
If you can't actually go there to buy it. I don't know. They threw so much marketing behind Prime Day. And it makes sense that their sales would be up, considering the reason that it was failing is because so many people were trying to buy things. But at the end of the day, you don't want this to be the experience people have. And Bezos cares a lot about the consumer experience.
Totally agreed. Also, Netflix on Monday missed its own estimates for subscriber growth by 1 million customers in its second quarter results, causing its stock to tumble. Joan, is this a big issue for the company, or do you think it's just going to be a short-term bump?
I think it's going to be a short-term bump. You got to keep in mind that this Netflix stock, people that invest in Netflix stock, they are very trigger happy. They love these 14% ups and downs is not unusual after an earnings report. And this was a significant miss for them. But you got to keep in mind, for average people, they gained 4 million customers, just not the 5 million they had told people. And there's some lumpiness. That's the term. There's some lumpiness in their results. Sometimes they beat by significant amounts and sometimes they miss. They don't miss often, but they do miss sometimes. Generally speaking, Netflix isn't sweating it, for one, and it seems like this is just a road bump.
Talk to me a bit about how much they spend on content. The last I checked, it was something like $8 billion, which is significantly more than competitors like HBO or Amazon.
Yeah, so this year they're spending $8 billion. They're expected to spend as much as $8 billion on their originals and other content, and spend another $2 billion just on marketing their originals. So all in all, their content budget is like $10 billion. That far outstrips.
Wow.
Yeah. That far outstrips any other, if you look at HBO, they only really create, I think, don't quote me on this, but I think they only make 40 series. They only make 40 original pieces of content a year. Netflix got Emmy nominations for 40 pieces of content this year.
Yeah. So, which is interesting. We're talking about how much money they're spending. And the other thing I wanted to ask you about was, it looks like it's actually benefiting them, right? I mean, the Emmy nods came in and they actually broke HBO's 17-year streak of the most Emmy nods.
Yeah. So the executives were happy to talk about that yesterday, too, as everyone was selling off all their stock. It's like, wait. The Emmys loved us this year. The Emmys always love Netflix. And that's what happens when you are spending $10 billion on content. You can create so much that you also, and when you let creators have mostly a hands-free experience, they don't have executives giving them notes. So they're getting really sophisticated creators, producers and directors to make content there because they're just like shoveling money at them. So they are creating good stuff and it works in their favor. They've been growing like crazy, even though they haven't grown in the last quarter quite as much as was expected.
Cool. Last Comic-Con is coming up in a few days. Our own Aaron Carson plans on attending the show for the first time and wrote about how to prepare for all the geekdom. So check out this story. If you want to read more about these stories, check us out on CNET. I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
I'm Joni Salzman.
Thanks for listening.
Okay, thanks everybody for joining us as always. That's the conclusion of the recording of the audio podcast. But now it's time to take questions and comments and keep the whole shebang going. Let's find out what other people's horror stories have been so far on the Amazon experience. I'm sure we've got a lot of people seeing the 404 pages and freezing up. Ben, you said the search locked up for you.
Yeah, not only that, but like I was stuck in an infinite loop for the Shop All Deals. So if you clicked on the Shop All Deals button, it just takes you back to a page that says Shop All Deals. And that happened for more than an hour. My initial impression when this was happening was, okay, they just loaded up the new Prime Day page because it has its own like curated, customized page. This is going to have a little bit of hiccups while they're actually getting like a flood of traffic coming in, but they'll probably resolve it within like 10 or 15 minutes. This thing lasted for well over an hour and had multiple failures associated with it.
I was having hiccups still in the evening, like hours later, I was still having problems.
Yes, it wasn't nearly as bad, but I definitely noticed that as well, where you would still get a 404 dog every now and then when you were trying to like find a deal or look for the search. And eventually they were able to recover and fix certain things. I noticed that they took off some features that may have been breaking the site.
Oh, really? Which ones did they remove?
Like there was one that I noticed earlier on where it was shop by categories. It was this nice new feature where you could shop for like toys and games and whatever. When they reloaded the page, that disappeared and it didn't come back. So it's possible that that may have just been broken. And I heard from them, if I remember correctly, that was a new feature that they were trying to announce. They were trying to roll out this year. And the problem is that the company is so secretive, they won't really say what happened, what the cause of the problem was. Everybody assumes and everybody figures that it's this huge flood of traffic. I mean, that's when the site started failing, was right when they started Prime Day. But at the same time, Amazon being Amazon, they just won't, they'll acknowledge the problem, but then they just kind of want to move on and don't want to provide details.
Right. I mean, even them saying that sales were better than ever, that's like classic Amazon way of categorizing how they perform. They just say better than ever, hundreds of millions, or whatever. They use these super generalized ways to say things are great.
Yeah.
Even when they clearly weren't yesterday.
Yeah. They're intentionally vague with that. They use percentage changes. They do a lot of those like little tricks to try to avoid actually giving hard figures. But you know, it wasn't a good situation for them, obviously. And I think that they started Prime Day in the middle of the day this year, as opposed to like, I think it was at night last year, to make sure that there would be all hands on deck to avoid a situation like this. So, you know, this company tends to execute extremely effectively. They've had a bunch of acquisitions, a lot of new areas, and that's typically how they're known. They're known for like being sometimes the smartest guys in the room, and this is an unfortunate situation for them where when all eyes are on them, this is a big day for them. They had a pretty significant failure on their hands.
They face-planted a little.
Yeah, it's too bad, but they'll probably still do a big rah-rah thing tomorrow about how much money they made. I'm sure they will.
So let's talk a little bit about what kind of domino effects might have been in play here. Bombs a Bomb was asking if Amazon Prime Video went down. Bill Harried says Amazon streaming video was down on his Roku. That they had thought that it was connected to the Roku, restructuring their apps, but it must have been completely on the Amazon side because he said that the Roku device was functioning fine otherwise. Do we think that the traffic could have impacted that? Those got to be completely... Really?
I believe so, actually. I spoke to my wife yesterday, and she told me that one of the Echo speakers was malfunctioning. So this is all based off of Amazon Web Services. This is a cloud computing business, so it's possible that the flood of traffic may have also been impacting some of its other features or its other services. And she was trying to do something really simple where she was just trying to set a timer, which she does every day. And for whatever reason, it wasn't functioning properly.
Well, we know not for whatever reason. It was because Amazon, even though its profit all comes from Amazon Web Services, like their gigantic server, we will serve up all of your stuff. They couldn't even rely on their own, let alone.
It's this is the company that this shouldn't have happened to. They have so many redundant systems for a situation like this to not happen, especially on Prime Day. And it probably is a significant, it probably points to the enormous amount of demand, especially when like they just opened the sale. So to a certain extent, that's like a good problem to have. But if any company was going to be prepared for something like this, it should have been them.
Netflix actually, they run all their content through AWS, right? I think.
Yeah. They are all in. That's the term that they use. So
really?
Netflix is all in on AWS.
Oh God, that's terrible. But they are.
It just goes to show that nobody is completely impervious to the mercy of the internet and the miracle that is the traffic. Miracle. Oh, that sounded so weird. I don't know why I use that word.
The miracle.
The miracle
of
the internet.
of e-commerce.
What's a better term that makes it sound less hoity-toity? What's help me?
I can't think of another word than miracle now. You've put miracle in my head. That's all I'm thinking about now.
We know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, of course.
We've seen Netflix go down time and time again. Amazon can go down. We've seen Google down. Remember when Gmail went down? What was that, like 2 years ago or something like that?
It happens. It obviously happens. And sometimes you sit back and you wonder, like, geez, how is it not a train wreck more often?
Yeah.
Because they do have so many services. They're really complex companies. And at the end of the day, Amazon is still going to make a boatload of money. That's like the big thing here is how much are customers really going to remember this? Are they really going to drop Prime because of it? I find that hard to believe. No. I think that they'll take the hit on it. It's embarrassing, but ultimately I think it may end there where like we'll talk about how it really was kind of a faceplant, but beyond that, I don't know that it's really going to harm them much.
Yeah.
Matthew Datcher reports that he had his entire shopping cart deleted yesterday.
I heard about that.
Yeah. Joan, what was your experience? You said you'd bought a bunch of stuff, but you had more than a few bumps in the road along the way.
Yeah, so I logged on right when it started, and I was able to I wanted to get some headphones, some nice headphones, wireless headphones. And I was able to get the headphones that I wanted into my cart, but then when I tried to check out my cart, I couldn't. It just gave me there's heavy traffic right now. Try again in 30 seconds. And so I did that a couple times and I managed to check that out. But after that point, I couldn't search deals. I couldn't search other things. I couldn't get to the deals I'd already watched. I'd set some mobile alerts for other deals through the Amazon mobile app to be alerted when some other things were going to be coming on sale. Those mobile alerts didn't arrive until like 40 minutes too late. And then when I clicked on them, I couldn't even get to the deal page anyways. I just got an Amazon, a Dogs of Amazon page. So, and that continued. I mean, I was able to get some other things, but like throughout the afternoon, I wasn't able to, at least when I was able to get something and put it in my cart, I could check out. But it took a while before it started working. Like it felt like the way it should.
That is a lot of problems. In 2016, they had an issue where a number of customers were complaining that they weren't able to properly check out. But that was... And that seemed to have lasted a while, but that was fairly limited. They're in their fourth year of Prime Day. Granted, it's bigger every single year, but you would expect something like this not to happen. I mean, like, I'm not trying to be too hard on them, but at the same time, they hype the hell out of this thing, and then the website's not working. So it's hard not to, kind of take this stance for something like this.
Right. Yeah.
Did we actually see any solid deals? I know there's always been a lot of hem and haw over Amazon Prime being like, oh, they're just kind of clearing out the warehouse. I haven't participated yet. I've been a little tied down the last 24 hours. Alex Mitchell says that the Nintendo Switch deal kind of sucked in the long run, which kind of makes me feel a little better because that was the one thing I was looking forward to, was maybe upping my game library. Of course, I think he's probably talking about that $300 console package which is fine. That's not a great price, but it's not a terrible price. Any highlights from the sales so far that we can objectively highlight?
Our reviewers have been all over this.
All over it, like crazy.
What are some of the things that our colleagues in reviews have pointed out?
The thing to like, if you're in the market for an Amazon device, whether it's an Echo or a Fire TV or whatever, you're probably going to get the best possible deal during Prime Day or also Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So if you don't want to pay for it now, you can wait until later the year during the holiday season. You'll probably get a very, very similar price. But Amazon is doing as much as it can to promote its own products and services. So if you're looking for things like signing up for like Amazon Prime Music or devices like Kindle Unlimited, also like they do a lot more of their own like home decor and clothing now. So I would say shopping for that stuff, you'll probably find some of the better deals because they control the pricing on that a little bit more than for the other guys. So that's the stuff that I would point you to probably the most.
And we can look on CNET. We've got by category, I think, for like home, for television, for PC, for audiovisual, speakers and headphones and whatnot. We've got pages that'll explain some of the best deals. There are people slavishly monitoring all the deals that are coming up.
They are, yeah, they're doing a lot of content related to that. So definitely check out the website if you are interested in checking out deals in specific categories for sure. There's a lot of coverage from the reviews team on that.
In before shameless self-promotion. Matthew Dadger asks, what was with the dogs in the error pages? So
I know that answer.
I think this was genius. Like I don't care, and I love that our headline, pretty much everybody's headline who was covering the story was like, well, Amazon's broken, but at least there's cute dogs.
Yeah. So the cute dogs aren't new. Those cute dogs are just like what they populate 404 pages with. And those are dogs of Amazon. So
Cannoli was my favorite. I just want to highlight cannoli for the relevant naming convention.
There's lots to love about cannoli.
So these specifically are dogs of Amazon employees, and Amazon is very dog friendly. When I was there in Seattle last year, they like make a point of having like doggy treats around and like water bowls, and they let employees like bring their dogs to their office. So to kind of up that even more, they have the 404 pages are now the dogs of Amazon. So it's possible, or it's very, very likely that people just didn't notice that before, but they were always there. So if you just punched in Amazon.com/ a bunch of gobbledygook that doesn't make any sense, you will probably find a Dogs on Amazon page. And it wasn't new for Prime Day or anything like that.
It was just new that people were seeing it when they were new, because that doesn't usually happen. Like,
it was a nice balm for a lousy situation, because the dogs are really cute, and it was a cute idea, but it's not that they did it specifically for Prime Day. So, but yeah, I think you mentioned you kind of missed the fail whale.
It reminded me of fail whale.
I love fail whale.
The old days. It made me nostalgic for the old days of Twitter.
Is the fail whale gone?
I think so.
I think it's gone. Not only do they have less failure in that respect, but
in that respect only.
In only that respect does Twitter have less failure. Failure on other counts, but not that kind of failure. But I think they got rid of I think they did get rid of fail whale.
It's too bad.
Their 404 is different.
How soon until we see things like nostalgic memes come around full circle? Like we've got the Nokia 3310. Like the nostalgia tech has come full circle.
Right.
How long until we start seeing like, the fail whale's back? Like.
Oh, well, I don't know.
I wish. As much as I'd like to believe that Jack Dorsey is watching the show, he's not. But if you are watching, bring back the fail whale, Jack.
Please.
All right, we got enough time for a couple more quick questions, or at least comments from our buddy Michael Brown. He says, the best thing about Prime Day was the competing sales on Best Buy, Google, etc. I think that is kind of a good thing, you know. You could say money is the root of all evil and commercialism is the devil, but jobs and business, I mean, it is kind of nice to see, like, this is a nice shot in the arm to the economy in a time where there's rarely any major commerce going on. It's opposite, like almost polar opposite of Black Friday. So props to Amazon for, kind of revving the engines a little bit.
I mean, Christmas in July is something that happened in retail
Joan,
prior to Prime
I have
Day.
learned that is not as commonplace as we once thought. I am very familiar with Christmas in July, but I have talked to a lot of people who are like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, it's definitely not the same as actual Christmas, but it's something that, I think retailers have tried this tactic before where, it's pre-back to school, it's a slow time of year, it's after spring when a lot of, like gardening and home improvement places have a lot of business. So I think like it's something that like the retailers artificially drum up and have done for a long time, but never on the scale of Amazon, because nothing's
Absolutely.
ever been on the scale of Amazon before.
Yeah. One of the things also related to Michael Brown's comment, one of the things that I appreciated was apparently Macy's had a specific promotion where they were like, look at all the stuff that you can buy for $119 or less. So that was like a direct dig at Amazon Prime membership fee, which is $119. Like, look at all the stuff that you can buy if you just don't pay that membership fee.
Oh, bless their hearts.
Which is great. I mean, like, and granted, all of those other retailers are really trying to do a dig on Amazon's membership fee, because they raised it by $20 this year. It's now $119. And so a lot of these other retailers are specifically saying, here are these deals, and you do not have to pay a membership fee for them. So they are trying to find different ways of competing against Amazon, even though Amazon is still very much their big day, and they're the juggernaut of, like, they're the ones that made Prime Day. They're the ones that are making the most sales for this particular time.
All right, let's take one from Channing Che. They ask, why is it that Amazon keeps you from viewing Prime Day deals if you're not already a Prime customer?
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm not going to sign up for a
not true.
service if I'm not allowed to see the benefits. Is this an element of exclusivity? Ben, you say it's not true. I
No,
wouldn't know. I've been
I'm-
a Prime customer for years.
So on this computer specifically, I'm not signed in to my account, and I am able to shop on the Prime Day deals. And
See,
I've
that
been doing
makes
that
more
for a
sense.
while. They don't hide it from you, because specifically this is a big opportunity for them to drum up new Prime customers.
Exactly.
And
It's
to get
incentiveness.
people to sign up for the 30-day free membership. So they want you to see the deals. They want you to get enticed by it. Maybe you've never gone on Amazon before. You've never considered being an Amazon member before. This is a big opportunity for them to do something like that. So yes, if you are interested in looking for the deals and you're not a Prime member, you can go on Amazon and absolutely shop around before deciding whether you do or you don't want to pay that money or get the trial membership.
From Bombs a Bomb, it's kind of an off-topic question, but Joan, you may be able to floor this one. If AT&T merged with with Time Warner Brothers, do you think Netflix would be pushed out of business?
No, because A, it's pretty sure that's happening, and B, Netflix doesn't rely on Time Warner for very much of its content. That's part of the reason why it's spending $8 billion, $10 billion total on content, and almost the majority of that is on originals. So they don't have to rely on other people's content, the terms that other people want to set, in order to have a robust catalog of stuff to watch. So one of the things that might be a little bit more threatening is if Fox and Disney merge. Disney is already planning to have what people refer to as Disney Flix next year. It's their subscription service that will basically package in all the movies from Disney that you love for a Netflix-like low monthly fee. That's more threatening to Netflix, because Netflix has had those Disney movies, like Pixar movies, the Marvel movies. They had a specific deal with Disney to get those. So Disney said, we're not going to renew that deal. It's going to end, and they're going to launch their direct Netflix competitor. That's going to be more threatening to it. But AT&T buying Time Warner isn't going to have much of an effect in terms of the content you get. It'll be another competitor as they launch streaming subscription services, because they have that new stuff. But it's kind of, Netflix is, it's hard to underestimate how much they lead this space. They've got, 100 plus million members worldwide. That's a really long runway ahead of anybody else.
Yeah, and they saw this coming. That's why they spend so much money on their own
They
content.
saw this coming a long time
even
ago.
with Disney Flix, they're well ahead of the game. And honestly, from a consumer perspective, most consumers would rather spend just the money on one service like Netflix, which they already are customers of, than all these other players going out on their own and getting you to not just buy Netflix but everything else. So,
Yeah.
But that seems to be the future that we're moving toward.
Yep.
Excellent answer. To close it out, let's take one more from Bill Harried. Any estimates on the number of users who actually logged in yesterday? What is Amazon's breaking point?
Oh God, that's a good question. But like Amazon
Call up your buddy Jeff. Let's find this out.
Amazon never gets that close to actually providing like real specific numbers. I did get some hour by hour comparative information from like a third-party company called Feedvisor, which specifically mentioned that there was a 5% decrease in total sales from like, the marketplace sellers during the 4 p.m. hour. So other than that, everything was up. And by 7 p.m., it was actually more than double. But as far as specific numbers, that's harder to say. But there was an obvious hit during the early hours. And then after that, like it was all systems go. And like people were spending way more than they were last year, as we saw with Joan.
Yeah, spent a lot of money.
Well, that's lame. I thought you would actually be able to give us a little more information. Sorry about the kind of fake tossover.
Blame Amazon. They're the ones that never give specifics about anything.
I mean, like, they literally-
It's like an
something that seems-
allergy.
they
They
should-
can't do it or they'll break out in hives.
It seems unnecessary to play that kind of information so close to the chest.
I mean, that's
understand.
how tech is. I mean, that's how tech is right now. I feel like it's a pendulum. Like, and that's, I mean, I'm going to extrapolate this really far, but that's part of the problem that we're seeing with like Facebook and like the fact that all of these tech companies are so cloistered and hold everything so tight to the vest that people are like, hey, you need to tell me what you're doing with my private information. We're not talking about privacy here. Obviously, it's different, but it's definitely just a cultural thing that maybe is starting to start swinging in the other direction now that there's been so much scandal at some of these companies.
One would hope so. But as a good example, Jeff Bezos announced just this year how many Prime members there were worldwide.
Right.
Prime has existed for, God, I should know this off the top of my head, but it's something like 20 plus years, right? Because because Prime Day started 4 years ago for the 20th anniversary of Prime, or the 20th anniversary of the company. But either way,
it's been around
wait
a
a
long
minute.
time.
I might be getting some of those numbers wrong, but needless to say,
Amazon's been around over 20. Prime's only been around like maybe 7 or 8.
Okay. Either way, they avoided specifically mentioning how many Prime members there were up until this year. And it was a huge number for the company. So just so you get a good idea of how much they keep things close to the vest, that's a good example.
Woof. All right. Well,
Woof,
I think we
of course, woof.
We are out of time. For everybody still Prime Daying out there, we just want to say happy hunting. Keep us posted if you find anything good, if you break it again, or tweet at us, let us know what the hell is wrong with the experience overall, or how disappointed you are, and how bad this Christmas really was. Who wants to take us out today?
I'll do it. Anyway, sorry, Prime was founded 13 years ago, February 25th, 2005.
Well,
it's something that I feel like I really should have known, so my apologies for not having that off the top of my head.
Well, in Price is Right rules, I still won.
Yes, technically, Brian is way ahead with his 6 or 7 year rule. But anyway, the 359 is available on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, FeedBurner, Google Play Music, Google Podcasts, the Amazon Echo. Am I missing one? CNET.com.
Look at the teleprompter.
CNET.
We don't have them.
It's not there.
Oh,
It's fine. Anyway, but we'll be back tomorrow. And thanks, everybody, for your questions. And we'll see you again soon.
Take care, everyone. See you tomorrow.